Hey guys, welcome back to McChanic. Today I am going to be starting the install of a mini tub kit on the Firebird. And what that means is I'm going to be widening the rear wheel wells about 2 inches. And the reason it's a mini tub is because if it was a full tub kit, it'd be basically taking up the entire back seat. But this one's just going to widen it so I can fit about 1 foot wide rear wheels on this thing. The chassis I got from Roadster Shop is made for a car with a mini tub, and it has a narrowed rear end on it to help accommodate wider rear wheels. This kit I got is from Detroit Speed, and I'm pretty impressed with it at first glance. It has step-by-step full color instructions. Looks like pretty quality steel for the inner wheel wells. It came with wheel well flanges for the pieces I cut out. I'll have to bend these and weld these into the places I cut out to replace and reinforce. And it came with really nice templates to cut out, so I can cut these out with scissors and then put this in the car and know exactly what pieces to remove so I can put all this stuff in. So I'm going to start by reading the instructions in its entirety, and then we'll get started. I've read the directions, and there's also a great video on Detroit Speed's website you can follow along to help you in the process. Now, I'm not following the directions in the exact order they were written, but I'm roughly close. So everything I'm going to show you, I've just duplicated on both sides, and all that was necessary was flipping the paper templates over to copy what was done on one side. So the first thing I did was mark these cut lines on the top, which is going to help me remove this piece of metal that connects the wheel wells to the trunk divider. And then down here, use the template to mark these cut lines, as well as use a center punch to mark where the seatbelt bracket is going to get relocated to. And if you're going to do that, wear some hearing protection, because in this hollow metal body car, it sounded like I was swinging the hammer inside of my own head. So then I used 2-inch tape to mark where the end of the template was, all the way to where the cut is going to continue inside of the trunk. And then in the trunk, there was another template that was used to mark this black line here, all the way up to where it will finish. And then following right along where my finger is, all the way up and through the inside of the car, roughly cut out the entire inner wheel well. And the last part of that that's going to be necessary is right here. I'll need to remove a couple spot welds and bend this piece out, because this little tab will reconnect to the new metal. So I'm going to get started on that and take little videos as I go. All right, got the first test fit. And it's pretty close. Looks good. So just got to do a few tiny adjustments and then take the wheel well flanges and bend those to match the shape of this. So I got the wheel well flanges bent and welded into place. And now I just got to come back and knock a few of those welds down a little bit, and then I'll punch some holes in the new wheel well and get it in there. I'm doing the final test fit before I get this thing welded in for good, and it is pretty dang close. I think the only thing I'm gonna have to do is cut a little bit of this off right here of the flange so that this will sit flush against it. And then I'll get it welded in there. Mucho better. Yeah. Got it all welded in, tied back into the factory sheet metal. And the one last step on this side of welding, at least, is going to be replacing this piece. And to do that, they gave me this piece of, or this template. And so I'll cut this out of a fresh piece of metal to then weld back in to that. And then I'll put some seam sealer and some primer on this and do the same to the passenger side. And here it is. Now I'm gonna do that really cool thing in videos where they gently toss it up and then it just appears in place, all completed. Ta-da! Okay, got seam sealer in all around the edges. And this side is done, other than just a coat of primer to protect it. And no, I didn't make any effort to have the seam sealer look factory because I don't think that looks very good anyway, and this is not going to be hardly visible at all when the car is done. Primer is on, and this side is actually complete now. I'm going to do a lot less filming on the other side because I feel like it's probably going to be exactly the same, but if there's any major differences, I'll cover those and then finish up this clip. Put a fork in this project because it is done. So the primer I had on hand before was white, and what they had available today at the auto parts store was green. So this side's green. It basically went exactly the same as the other side, except a lot faster. I think that this probably took me maybe 30 hours, and I think that over 20 of them was on the driver's side. Other than that, pretty similar process, and on to the next.